Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cockpit Show on Mikey's Flightdeck. Today with the cockpits from Peter, Karl-heinz and Daniel. Again, some of you have sent me pictures of their cockpits or things they have built at home. And if you want to present your builds here in the show, then just write a mail with some pictures and a description of the things to the email address I will show you at the end of the video, or just look down in the video description. But now we will start with the cockpit of Peter. Peter has sent a picture of his MHP that he has built, and let's see what he has written. Peter is 55 years old and interested in planes since he was a child. He has made his private pilot license, but because of medical issues it isn't clear that he can fly anymore, and so he started building his own flight simulator. He has built his own CNC router, bought a 3D printer and modified a CO2 laser. With these tools he is building all the parts of his cockpit by himself. The goal is to build all the components on his own. He's planning to use SimWim to control the cockpit. Oh, and it's just one picture that I have here, but you can already see that there is a high detail rate here in this build. Especially when you see that most or nearly all text here is backlighted. And even the registration, which you can see on the left lower side here, is backlighted. And I don't know, is the registration of the Boeing backlighted in the rear one? I don't know. But everything is working here. You can see all the monitors are working here, and he's also able to show some charts there on the monitors. Not always I use the real Boeing knobs here, but this doesn't matter. So if you want to start with your cockpit, then just use knobs you have available, and then when you see everything works and you have fun with this hobby and want to go on with your build, then you still can change your mind and buy real knobs and use them. Also, the flaps indicator seems to be working with a needle and a servo motor, I think. And now look down there to the CDU bay. Many users say that it is really difficult to build a CDU. Yes, this is really difficult when you want to build this as real as it gets, with all the knobs working and making every knob as a single button that you can push. But you can see here, you can start with a touch screen and just project the CDU here on the screen, and then you have a fully usable CDU available here. So when you are not sure that you have the abilities to build a complete CDU of your own, then just start with a screen and try if this is fulfilling all the needs you have with a CDU here. So all in all, Peter, a good build, and I think when you continue building with this detail level, then we can stay tuned for your finished overhead panel. So thanks for your picture, and now let's go on to the builds of Karl-heinz. Karl-heinz hasn't built a full cockpit, but only some parts he can use to simulate all the flying on his desktop. So what has he written here? He has built all the panels by himself. He started small, only with some switches, encoders and LEDs, and improved the build more and more. The MCP panel was routed out by his plans. So, and when we have a look here at the components he has built, then you can imagine this here on your desk. And I think this can be a solution for many of you who doesn't have the place for a full-size cockpit, or even all of those who don't want to invest all the space into a full-size cockpit. Because you need a room, and especially if you want to use projectors or large screens, then you can be sure that you can use a full room dedicated only to your simulator. So there are all these half cockpits where you have the pilot section only, then you can reduce the space a little bit more, but most of these simulators are very big. And so components like this come in really handy, especially when you want to start with your hobby and want to see if it catches you and you want to go on with this hobby. The panels doesn't meet the real Boeing panels in all aspects here, but this doesn't matter because many of you are also asking for generic cockpits and don't want to simulate only a Boeing or an Airbus plane, but also want to fly a Cessna with this cockpit from time to time, or some other planes. And those components here would be a solution where you can simulate different planes with these panels here. So what have we here? We have the Cytec yoke system integrated into this panel here, and the communication, the radio panel here, and navigation panel. All the most important panels from the pedestal are integrated here and in reach. And on the right side he has built an MCP panel, the EFIS panel you can see, and all the light parts from the overhead panel. And also here a gear handle already. So I think the most used functions you can meet with this setup here. And I think if he wants to simulate some function of the overhead panel, then he will use a screen or the mouse or something like this. Here we have a better look to the MCP panel, and all these letters are really crisp and good readable here. And all these letters are filled with white color, I think, instead of the letters on other panels where he used white acrylic, so that the letters are better readable. Because when you use clear acrylic and try to backlight these letters, they will be visible when they are backlighted, but not when the backlighting is off. And some of the knobs are made by himself. We will see some of these designs later. Here we can also see the EFIS panel. Everything is readable, and I think this really looks like the real Boeing panel. Not that I have seen one, but it really looks like the one that I did, and I also tried to come very close to the original one. And the next component we have here is the CDU and a component mixed by a throttle quadrant and some MIP functions here. Let's come to the CDU first. Yes, these are all clear and visible. What I think that can be annoying is that all the buttons aren't black at the side, so when there doesn't come out any irritating light, then I think it's okay. Some of you are also painting the buttons black all around, so that the only light you can see is a light coming through the letters. But this looks really well and like the original one. And when you look at this throttle quadrant here, you can see something that you also can think of when you don't want or can't use servo motors. Look at this flaps gauge here. There isn't a needle to show the flap state, but he has inserted some LEDs and only light up the LED that shows the actual flap state. Yes, that can be also a solution. And he also has integrated some after overhead functions. Here you can see the IRS buttons there. So I think he has inserted all the functions that he will use most of the time. And here we can see some designs of the knobs, and let's see what he has written about this. He has made the drawings of the knobs by himself because the quality of the drawings he could find on the web wasn't satisfying. The drawings were made in Fusion 360. Yes, quality can be very different from design to design when you get it from the internet. I think there are some good designs out there. Of course, you can't grab any design from Thingiverse and think you download some original button here. But there are some makers that are really making good designs, especially when you are looking at Karl's website from the 737 DIY channel. I have mentioned him in the past sometimes. There you can find some really good design because he has some good abilities in drawing and all this Fusion 360 stuff here. And there you can find some design that you can use. I also have used some of his button designs. But when you are looking at these knobs here, these are really well done, and sure, when you have the ability to make something like this, then use your talent, and so you don't have to buy any knobs. This can also cost you very much money. And here we can see the knobs coming out of his 3D printer. And this is not the most used 3D printing technique. You can see they are placed on a holding structure, and these are knobs made by a resin printer. I don't know if every one of you knows how a resin printer works. The normal 3D printer starts on a print bed and builds up the print in layers. The resin printer also builds up the print in layers, but with a top down. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I can imagine it works something like this. You have the liquid resin in a holder, and then the base of your printer goes into this bed, makes the first layer, gets it out for a short time to harden, I think, gets into it. It will be, I think, lighted up, some photo technique or something that are using there, and then the next layer is built, and so on and so on, and so the build will be pulled out of the resin. And you don't have these lines and structures that you come out when you use this standard 3D printing technique. And if you use this clear resin, then you also have another advantage, because you can backlight these buttons. Light will come through, and when you have painted them and left some lines free, for example, then you can see the light shining through. Can be another advantage. Here we can see the finished buttons, and you can see the edges come out really clear, and I think this can also be compared with knobs you can buy. Here we have another set of knobs here. Clear, crisp letters, everything is readable good, and even the gear handle is built by himself, and this looks really good and is another part that you won't need to buy. So, thank you, Karl-heinz, for sharing your builds with the community here. And we go on with another cockpit of Daniel. Let's see what has Daniel written about himself and his project. I'm from the Czech Republic, and now I work in Germany as a truck driver. I became a member of your web group a few days ago. I like your work on your cockpit very much, and you're a great inspiration for me. Thanks, Daniel. This weekend I worked on my cockpit and tried to do something by your ideas. My home is Coesfield right now, and the cockpit I built is near Groningen in the Netherlands, where my friends live. He helps me with the electronics. So let's see what he has here. And I can see a nearly finished sidewall. I don't know if this was the first part with which you have started here. I think the sidewall can be a good decision to start from. Really, all the equipment is there, even an oxygen mask. I don't think if I would install so much details already into the sidewall when I'm starting the project. But okay, you can also invest so much time in the components until everyone is ready and then go on to the next. But it's looking really great. The second sidewall is also finished, and what have we here? 2 pedal stands already covered with aluminum, I think. And a throttle is already there, the CDU stand I can see, and a fully equipped pedestal. Only the fire panel is missing. I wish I would be in this state of the cockpit building. And here he has sent a picture where he's building these armrests on the side windows. And you can see this isn't too difficult to build. Just some layers of wood glued together, some angles cut here, and then it's finished. The handle you can see here, is this made from wood or 3D printed? Or even bought finished here? I don't know. I hope you've built this by your own. And then he has built these windows. Guys, these windows can be a very tricky part of the cockpit to build because of all these different angles, and the angles are nearly in all directions, not only the wooden parts to each other. The cockpit windows also are leaned to the inside of the cockpit. It can be horrible. But you have built this very good, and you have a flat surface on the top. That's something I think is really important to go on later with the ceiling of the cockpit. Yes, and here we have the nearly finished shell skeleton and even the base here, where you can see where the yokes and the pedals will be installed later. And this construction method of the shell of a cockpit, I think there the cockpit building community is divided in 2 groups. The one group, where I think I belong also to, is concentrating on the inside of the cockpit, because you sit inside of the cockpit and not outside of it, and you won't see the outside of it nearly never. And the other group even starts often with the shell and the fully finished outside of the cockpit. But you have to keep in mind that this can be a very work-intensive process here. Not only that you have to build all these ribs here, these different ribs, but you have to cover them later with several layers of wood, and between these layers you have to sand again and fill again. This can be long sanding and filling sessions, but when you invest much time and keep on working, then you will be granted with a really good outside surface later. And I'm not sure for what these holes in these ribs are. I think they are for cables, are they? If anyone knows this, you can write this down in the comments. Do you route cables through these ribs? I think. And you already can see the pedals in the background. I think we'll have some better pictures of these later. But wow, when this thing is ready, this will be a great cockpit. I hope you can move this later outside of this shop here. This is something you have to keep in mind, that your cockpit should be movable. It's not clear that it will stand always at the same place, so keep this in mind. And here we can see first crew seat. I think this is the most known design that you can find in the internet. I'm thinking right now which design I will choose later for building a cockpit seat. This can be one decision. The only thing I don't like, if you can say don't like, this is a great design. The only thing I don't like on this design is that you only can move the armrest up, and the real armrest is also going into the back of the seat, and you will have more space to go along at the side of the seat. I will try if I can construct something where this armrest goes inside the seat, and if not, this is a really good and solid design. Here we have a picture of the pedals, and yes, I think this is all full metal here, and I think these are already connected to each other, so that when you push onto the co-pilot pedal, then the pilot pedal also moves, and a fully equipped MIP and glare shield. I think there is nothing missing in here, but this is nearly finished. And here you can see the whole MIP in action. Everything is working, every light is on. You have already connected it to the computer, and the software is already running on these monitors here. So there's nothing more to do, I think. And the lower overhead here. It's also everything finished. What is left to do for you in the future? I think this is a steel case or an aluminum case for the overhead panel. Have you built this everything on your own, or is it a bought one? I think this is a pre-made. And in the background you can see the after overhead panel, also in the construction state. Some eyebrow windows. I think, are these original eyebrows? Maybe. I can't say. I don't know if you can save a lot of work when you are buying finished or even original eyebrow windows, because I have seen some builders that have had great problems fitting these in later into their builds, because when you are building your shell exactly with the right dimension, then these things won't fit in there, or only with a lot of work and you have to fill the gaps around it. But as I've said in my eyebrow building video, this is a lot of work to build these things on your own. Did I say the fire panel is missing? There it is. And these are huge switches. I think this can be even original parts. Are these original fire handles? I think so. And also most of the ceiling surface is already finished. Everything is there. Just screw them into your ceiling constructions, and when you have built in your overhead again, you have the closed ceiling. So not much to do in the future. I think the yokes can be your last project here. But you can be really satisfied with the result you have got so far. So when you have a friend doing the electronics, then you will be flyable in no time, I think. Really cool. I wish I would be in the state you are already with your cockpit. Very good pictures, and good luck with your project in the future. So again, we have had 3 builders with very interesting parts and projects here again. And if you want to see more of those projects, I need your input to produce more of these shows here. So don't think long about it. If you have a cockpit at home or have made a part you are very proud of, a yoke, a throttle, something like this, then take a picture of it, write a little description and send the pictures to the mail address of the Cockpit Show. And I can present your builds here in an upcoming episode. So until then, thanks for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next episode of the Cockpit Show.